Fabian Speaks, man. It's been a minute. I'm back with a video. Um, just trying to maintain and stay consistent, man. I don't even know why you said that, because a lot of y'all see me drop a video about, looks like it's been about a month since I even posted on this channel. But, been focusing on other things. Like, one thing about me, man, I've had a multitude of things going. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. Call it a jack of all trades, but y'all know I got a few channels that I talk about, so I've been more consistent posting on the other channel. There was a time in the season where this was the sole channel I was posting on because I felt spirit led. My spirit was calling me to consistently do these things, and I've just been drawn in a different direction more recently. So I don't want to leave y'all out to dry, you know what I mean? I definitely want to still keep posting for my subscribers here. And I know a lot of y'all appreciate some of the messages I give and some of the insight I give, you know what I mean? And it's all from the man upstairs. All glory be to God, man. I never really saw myself, I don't know what you would call this, ministering, having a motivational encouragement channel through my belief in my spirituality and my belief in Jesus Christ, but here I am, I haven't been as consistent. There was a point in time where I was making videos every single day, but I've just felt led to do things in a different direction for this particular season. Now, I don't want to be spread too thin, so sometimes I try to, redirect my focus, but at times I'm able to juggle both, so I definitely want to get back in that cadence. So here I am recording a video, just starting, at times I don't feel prompted to post. At times I don't have a message, and I even said in the past, usually when I had messages, I was really tapping into the Holy Spirit, asking of the Lord and what he wanted me to share with the people, and things would come off whim. A multitude of the videos y'all see on this channel is me praying about them. And then, things come into reality. So with that being said, I'm not sure if I have a particular message. I'm able to usually go with the flow, but you definitely want to tap in and do more live streams as well. I used to do those all the time. But going through a certain relocation, a certain shift, a different season at this point in time, I would say, if I could candidly speak, there's these seasons to where you feel so alone and lost. Like, even though that's not true, God is always with you. He's always monitoring. He's always encouraging. He's never forsaking. He always hears your prayers, even if you feel like you're in a season to where he's unresponsive. He's very close. And typically people say that when you feel that God is silent, he's usually doing the most work in your life. But if I could speak honestly, that's how I've been more recently. Like, I think I went through a season to where where God was training me. He was colleging me to be able to hear his voice and tap into who he's created me to be. And that's a big thing because a lot of people, they look at how other people hear God, and that may not be the way God has maybe tuned your hearing or listening to hear his voice. A lot of people have visions. Some people have dreams. Some people can audibly hear God. Some people, through their sensory, they're able to hear and maintain, whether it's discernment, wisdom, or like certain feeling they get. A lot of people audibly hear God. So it's different, for you to think that if somebody's hearing God in a certain facet and you don't hear him that way, that he's not speaking, you haven't tapped into the frequency in which he has designed you to hear him. And that's where I was going wrong a lot, man. I know I'm a dreamer. I dream of a multitude of dreams in one night. Like, it's a time where I have 4 to 5 dreams in a night and I can remember all dreams, you know what I mean? So the rate in which I dream, the facet in which and how I dream, having dreams actually come to fruition, I've obviously picked up on the pattern, right, that I'm a dreamer. I don't hear audibly God's voice, maybe some whispers. There's times where I was asleep and I heard a whisper, you know what I mean? But it was never precise direction. It was just like a voice calling out to me, saying my name, which if I'm gonna try to indicate or translate that he's near, that he just reassurance. but it's never been direct guidance or direction. I get those things more particular in my dreams. If it's insight to something, I get it in my dreams. But on top of that, I was trained to be able to hear him in the stillness, man. Isolation's a beautiful thing. And, now that I'm not as isolated as I was before, I really miss it. I think that's the environment that I thrive in, being by myself, being alone. And that's why I've been alone the majority of my life, man. I'm starting to realize maybe certain things aren't meant for me. Maybe I'm supposed to go on this isolated path, and that's according to my purpose. And sometimes that deals with giving up a lot of things, man, that you don't want to give up. Being reintroduced to things that you thought you were comfortable with, you thought you wanted, and you realize you grew out of them. You're not in that space anymore. So these are hard things to come to grips with. But I think that's where I am currently. A lot of spiritual warfare, a lot of attack, a lot of addiction, trying to soak my sorrows and things that I know don't give me true fulfillment. So just being candid, just being honest with the people, because I know a lot of other people are going through these seasons, but it only allows me to get closer. Like me personally, I know I'm his. I know I'm of him, because as far or as like frequently as I may try to veer away, I always come back. It's like, the knuckleheaded kid. You try to do things your own way. And I think in our own humanity, that's just our nature. I mean, when I read stories about like Joseph and, Jesus and a lot of these guys in the Bible that seem to be perfect, Jesus is the only true perfect one, obviously. But there's a lot of guys who really met the mark. And there's a lot of guys who were like, I'm not gonna say has-beens, but they didn't meet the mark. But God still used them in their insufficiencies and their insecurities. But like Jesus, perfection, right? But I said Joseph in the relation to what it was it Potiphar's wife or his superior's wife who tried to come on to him, and he always refused. Joseph was a fleer. He always fled. When things came up, he skedaddled. He didn't play with the fire. And I've always respected that because I find myself sometimes playing with the fire, going into situations knowing that the outcome's bad, but it's like in my life, sometimes there's seasons where I just constantly feel so unalive, man, so dead, to where, I try to seek validation through the world, and it's not, and we already know better as his children, that the world isn't going to provide any sufficiency. This world is fleeing. It can't provide fulfillment. But like, sometimes I do wild things just to feel alive, because in these moments of isolation, seasons of silence, which I've kind of brought myself to understand, this is all a part of the path. Like, man, it's going to be like this until, more than likely forever. When you're set apart for certain things, like, you got to get a grip and understand you're set apart. It's just allowed me to come to an understanding why certain things in my life never worked, why I was always the black sheep, why I was the outcast, why I had so much friction and tension in my life. You know what I mean? Like, these are a part of spiritual warfare. These are a part of the battle on each side. God colleging you, bringing you up, tutoring you, building you, making you to be used, right? And then the enemy trying to attack you, bringing you down because he knows the potential and what you have within you. So it's the two-sided, man. But yeah, like, when you become seasoned, you know better. When you become a bit more mature and you understand things, you know better. But sometimes it's like you kind of just pressed into a corner and you just want to, like, unleash some things, man. I don't even know how to best phrase that, but that's where I'm really coming from. I've been in these countless seasons to where I'm just like longing. I'm just like, when, where? My main focus has just been purpose in life. And, in a lot of the mundane, there's not too much purpose, man. It's just a lot of people aren't privy to things outside of that. When people kind of spiritually awaken, you understand these are just routines, and there's more to life than just the 9 to 5 and, X, Y, and Z. So I don't find fulfillment in these things, but I find myself still caught up in these things, and it's like I'm trying to break free, but I'm trying to trust in God's timing, but then sometimes I fall back on guilt, feeling like I've placed myself here. Like, where did I go wrong, Lord? Like, why am I still here? Why haven't I broken through yet? Is this all my doing? Is this all like, me kind of digging myself in a deeper hole? And I pray for him to kind of relinquish that thought process, and additionally, like, save me, redeem me, pull me out, put me in my place in terms of position me to where I will naturally flourish. I find myself just really struggling out here. It's like the mental battle, and then you like being in surroundings where nobody understand you, to where you just always empty. You know what I'm saying? So it's a weird feeling, but like through the trials and tribulations, I have strength to keep going on. I'm not gonna quit, but man, it's a very hollow kind of feeling. So maybe today was just about me kind of giving y'all an update, expressing things going on with me, because I know a lot of people are facing the same things. But I'm gonna do my best to keep tapping in with the people, keep giving y'all a word, keep giving y'all a message. So peace, love, prosperity, man. God bless y'all. We'll see y'all in the next video. We out.